Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in my hands here I have the Woodscraft Tanto, which is my first prototype manufactured by Work Tuff Gear. Well, actually, technically, this is the first one manufactured. However, it is not the first knife that I designed with Work Tuff Gear in mind. Here is the first knife that I theoretically designed for Work Tuff Gear. Now, this here is the Woodscraft Tanto. Now, this here is a small version. It has been scaled down for this particular prototype. It was originally designed as a full-size belt knife. But when I designed the Tanto, I realized that I didn't necessarily want to design the literal one-tool option, but rather a perfect tool for a companion knife. And thinking about this Woodscraft Tanto, well, sized down and scaled appropriately, here you'll see I have the perfect pair, the Tanto being a nice size chopping blade, general field tasks, and some harder use. But here, the Tanto being that nice little sort of EDC option. Now this Tanto here, it is actually developed out of AUS 8, which is not going to be the final steel. Working with Vic, he just happened to have some AUS 8 kicking around, and instead of using his, better premium steels, he decided that it would be a great opportunity to use some stock that he had laying around. And to be completely honest with you, so far I've been quite impressed at this overall. Now this here I am going to use at length. Now I'm out here glamping, got myself a week out here camping in this kind of nice scenario, but I have to process a bunch of wood for a fire tonight, and I thought this Tanto would be the absolute perfect way to go. So what we're going to do is a whole bunch of field use using this for some Woodscraft tasks and Firecraft tasks. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now just getting the Woodscraft Tanto out into some good quality field use. Now this knife is definitely going to be multi-purpose, filling that EDC role, or in my case, the Woodscraft application. So here using it for a little bit of Firecraft. First things first, just getting some of this out of the wrapper, out of the package, and doing a mighty nice job. But the main thing is going to be those harder tasks. How does this perform? How does it feel? How's the edge retention? And with Work Tuff Gear, first things first, you're going to get high quality construction. So here using the Woodscraft Tanto for some carving tasks, I need to carve myself a baton so I can do some of the harder tasks. So here getting a good full grip, using it to carve away at this wood, doing a nice job. Now at first I was literally just going through the bark, but again with a nice grind, excellent geometry, and my ability to find that edge right away, that is something that I have to say I am very happy with. Sometimes it takes a little more practice to get used to a knife. Not with the Woodscraft Tanto. I found the edge right away. So doing a nice job ripping through the wood, doing an excellent job taking some nice healthy chunks and making it through the bark to the wood. Now just thinning down a little bit on this baton, using the Tanto here, actually with some batoning tasks. A little bit of cross batoning, some standard batoning, but no problem. This knife performs extremely well. Now at this time, the actual thickness of the stock on the prototype is a little thicker than what we're thinking we're gonna go with for the final production run. So it will behave just a little bit different, but nonetheless, thinning out, it will become more slicey. But here, getting on the wood and hogging it out, some real nice solid chunks. The nice thing is I have a perfect 4-finger purchase on this knife. No concerns that it's gonna slip. Very comfortable, and even at length, no hot spots, and feeling really good in the hand. For even a smaller knife, you can see here doing a wonderful job, just hogging through the wood, taking very significant chunks and flinging them right at the camera. And after a good amount of work, some real nice curls. Now I picked these all up because, well, I've already done a bunch of work. Might as well save these to start my fire. Now my general design philosophy even revolves around my smaller knives doing hard use tasks. For me, even if it's an EDC, well, I want it to be able to do some harder tasks, but in this case, using it for the Woodscraft application, a little bit of Firecraft, I definitely want to be able to baton. So the edge geometry on this, absolutely perfect. The grind being a high saber grind and doing a wonderful job splitting down the wood. You can see it does a great job translating the crack from the top of the wood all the way down to the bottom and splits it with ease, even slightly larger pieces. Now the main consideration is definitely going to be the overall width and span of what you can baton, but doing a nice effective job. Now in terms of the carving tasks, this definitely feels really good in the hand and has some really nice controlled attack and bite. Everything from finer curls to even some heavier chunks, this Woodscraft Tanto is doing a fantastic job. More than anything, I am very happy. It fills out my hands wonderfully. Again, no hot spots, feeling very comfortable and doing a wonderful job carving down through the wood. The edge geometry perfect, and this heat treat very nicely done. Now here you can see performing even some lighter curls, this Woodscraft Tanto doing a great job running from the tip of the knife all the way down towards the ricasso. Now being a Tanto, you can't truly get all the way up on the tip, but you can leverage pretty much the entire blade for your carving tasks for the most part. Doing a nice job, getting some nice fine curls here, and even biting a little bit deeper to get some more healthy curls. The Woodscraft Tanto feeling excellent. And whether you're using a full hammer grip or a little bit more of that finesse with your thumb over the top, doing a nice job. Now, Work Tuff Gear has paid attention to the details where they did sharpen the spine, but not in the areas where your thumb rests. They actually did leave that a little bit rounded over, so it's quite comfortable. Feels very good and is doing a wonderful job. And as you can see, some nice, tasty, fine, dainty little curls. Now using the back of the knife for scraping is always something that's very important to me, especially for a smaller companion blade. Sometimes I don't like using larger knives, even in the, call it 5 to 6 inch range, where they are a little bit larger, a little less wieldy, and it can be a little less safe. So the idea of the Woodscraft Tanto is to be a nice companion blade to either a larger knife or an axe, and so I definitely wanted to do those scraping tasks. So using it here and scraping at this wood, getting some nice fuzz and fluff, some real easy little tinder to get my fire started. The Woodscraft Tanto here doing a magnificent job and really fluffing this out nicely. Now with a Tanto, you would expect this to do a nice job stabbing. For the most part, I am very happy with the performance. Getting down and through the wood and performing fairly well, but it does stab very easily through the wood to the point where you do stab down into your bearing block. So that is just something to consider. Not a big deal. You can see here a nice cracking action, and with a little twist of the knife, doing a nice job to split the wood open. Again, just being mindful that you will potentially stab down a little bit into your bearing block. Now again, this is a little bit thicker than the final production run will be, and I found at times it did struggle just a little bit with some of those thicker pieces, but the pieces that were a little more manageable, it did a nice job. Continuing to split down the wood smaller and smaller, even some of the finer batoning tasks, not a problem. Working this pile down into some nice split kindling, this is going to be absolutely instrumental in starting my fire. Now again, keeping in mind the idea that this is an EDC knife as well, cutting open a burlap bag and getting down to some of this processed tinder, this is going to help me get my fire started. Now I did want to process some of this with some of the batoning tasks. Here you can see overall working fairly effective, but ironically this processed material did not split nearly as nice as the wood did itself. But again, getting into some carving, making some curls, and then ultimately a little bit of fuzz and fluff to get my fire started. Now, one of the most important things to me, getting really good hot sparks off a ferro rod. So here you can see a Work Tuff Gear ferro rod. It's actually that perfect hardness where it's just a little bit soft, but hard enough that you get some good quality burn time, and yet at the same time the durability of the steel. So here, using the back edge of the spine, doing a wonderful job ripping on those sparks and getting my tinder bundle fired up. This is a great way to start a fire, and I'm glad I was able to pull this off, even with some slightly wet wood. Now for me, it's not always just about the Firecraft tasks, but some good cooking and eating tasks. So here, using the Woodscraft Tanto, just to do a little bit of that basic task work, not a big deal, opening up some packaging and getting myself some nice ribeyes on the grill. As mentioned, this does a nice job slicing, generally doing a wonderful job. Now again, keeping in mind the fact that two things. One, this particular prototype is in OS 8, which we do intend on potentially changing this for the production model. And then on top of that, the stock thickness is thicker than it will be on the final production run. So not quite as slicey as you will see on the final version, but at the same time, performing extremely well, holding a keen edge even after all of the work, all of the hard work, and doing a wonderful job to slice up my food. Having myself a good quality dinner, well, that's half the fun. Fire's only one piece, but eating, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's good.
Oh, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You like it?
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
Why does food taste better when you're camping?
Could you cook it over a fire?
Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Or is it because you're always hungry?
That's probably it.
Now at this point, I've been very happy with the performance of the Woodscraft Tanto. The first thing is the fit in the hands is just about perfect. This has been extremely comfortable, and I really like how it's thin up front and widens out and just really fills out your hands nicely. Now this blade is roughly 3.5 inches of overall cutting edge, and your handle just about 4 inches. Now the actual purchase area on the handle a little bit less, closer to maybe 3 3/4 inches, but it melts into your hands nicely. You are able to get on the handle in a number of different grips, so your full grip again filling out very nicely. This also works extremely well for reverse grip, where you're indexing literally right on the guard and your thumb over the top. Now I've intentionally rounded that so that it's comfortable, so that when your thumb goes right on the top there, no hot spots and good positive stabbing action. Feeling really good in the hands, and you'll notice too that the handle scales going over the guard to add a little bit of thickness. Again, Work Tuff Gear doing a wonderful job just rounding everything perfectly, and it feels really nice. I am very impressed at their construction, as I always am, but they've done an exceptionally nice job here. over the top, feeling really good. And these here, you will see some scallops for alternate grips. So if you want to get close up on the knife, both in this particular grip, but also getting on the side for the scraping tasks. Now, if there is one little gripe I have, and I knew this going into the design of the handle, that when you grip it sideways, it is just a little bit awkward. I didn't want to straighten out the handle because I knew it would feel really good in the primary grip and also the reverse grip, and had to make a little bit of a concession on that sideways grip. It does really fit a little bit awkward and just a touch, where sideways this kind of, and it's not a hook, but I'd say the rounded out area on the bottom of the pommel kind of does dig into your hand just a little bit, but again, nicely rounded, so it's not going to make a hot spot. It just kind of is, and I'm not going to say awkward, it's just not optimum. But you can easily do scraping tasks with ease, and this knife does a fantastic job showering sparks and scraping bark. Work Tuff Gear always doing a nice job with their 90-degree spine, and that was absolutely the case with the Woodscraft Tanto. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit further up, you can certainly do that. So some alternate grips reaching way up and getting some good control. You can do that in a number of different ways and really gaining some forward leverage on the knife all the way up to that tip. In case you had to maybe dig out a splinter or something like that, you can really get way up on there, no problem, no worries that you're going to get near the edge of the blade. So this was really designed, as I scaled this down, to be a complement to the Woodscraft Tanto, really kind of that like 80% of your camp tasks that you could do with a knife like this. The retention on the sheath, fantastic. I mean, zero rattle, zero chance this is coming out. And with the Ulti clip, this has been on my hip the entire time. So whether it's in my pants, in my pocket, or even on my shorts, so board shorts, swimsuit, really just going on with ease. And I've carried this literally with me 100% of the time I've been out here. Now, some people do have a little bit of a gripe with the Tanto for the ability to sharpen it. I have to say it's been extremely easy. You just have to treat each edge separately. So for the primary bevel, just doing a little stropping action here, very simple, real easy. Just draw the knife back along that edge, opposite direction, no problem at all. Then getting up on the forward section of the blade, same thing, few passes, no worries. That is quite easy. Again, getting on the ceramic rod, couple simple passes on each one of the blade lengths. So the main grind and then that little secondary grind there, no problem at all. Now, Work Tuff Gear, again, usually, and in this case, using the convex grind. So when you look at the secondary bevel, it is convexed. And the stock we have on here is just a little thicker than the production model is going to be. This here is closer to about 4 millimeters. We're going to thin it out just a bit to 3.8, get a little more slicey action, lighten the knife up just a touch, but it's still going to be stout. And you notice this did some wonderful job just with good cracking action, even batoning for a smaller knife. Now, just to point out that I do have 3 prototypes, but 2 of these are completely unused. At this point, I have used this one exclusively. I've gone as far as to hand it to kids. They've been carving with this all weekend. It's been great for them, nice and small and controlled, but they've been digging down into the ground, hitting the ground over and over again, sand and different debris, and this edge is still perfect. I do have to say I've been very happy with this AUS 8. Even though we're not intending on using this steel, I can say if we did, I do like it quite a bit. I think this knife is perfect in a stainless option. It doesn't have to be carbon steel, so maybe going with a stainless option here would be about perfect. Now, another thing you'll notice is Work Tuff Gear did provide some really cool little ferro rods. This was sort of a bonus. I was not expecting this, but these worked extremely well. And using the spine of the knife, I mean, this literally rips the sparks. So these ferro rods working extremely well. A little bit of a glow in the dark here on the back, which is cool, and the Work Tuff logo. So perfect little option here to use this Woodscraft Tanto as your ferro rod striker. I mean, it did work extremely well. So Woodscraft Tanto, I'm pretty happy. And it's nice to see this come alive. You know, when Work Tuff Gear gets started on a design, they do send a 3D printed handle. So I've been holding on to this for a while. I knew what it was going to be once I got this in my hands. And you'll see here, literally identical in length and also in width. And it's just nice after holding this little model in my hands for a while to get the actual prototype in my hand. And it performs not only as well as I would hope, but actually better. Carving great, good for general tasks, and I could see this being actually almost used in a way as a type of dive knife, where good stainless properties, nice shape, nice size, good and rust resistant. Not only that, but you know, really the material choices from the G10 all the way through the stainless bolts, and just fantastic little package. So Work Tuff Gear, nice job, and thank you very much. And so moving forward, I do hope we will see this going into production. I'm sure it will happen in a while. Work Tuff Gear's got a lot going on, and we will be working on the production run of the Tanto first, but the Woodscraft Tanto performing extremely well. I think you guys are gonna like this. So all right guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. Hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.